Hello my dear students, welcome all of you to my class. Today we will start the second chapter of economics, and that is the sectors of the Indian economy. So what do you mean by the word economy? Economy is defined as the management of financial matters for a country, community, business or family. An economy is a larger set of interrelated production and consumption of activities. So remember, economy is the sum total of all the economic activities of a society. In other words, we can say it is a system of earning livelihood to satisfy human wants. So the question is, what is economic activity? So the activity of making, providing, purchasing or selling goods or services is called as economic activity. People are engaged in many economic activities like manufacturing goods, services. The best way to understand the economy is by grouping these activities into one using important criteria. And these criteria or groups or component are called sectors. Classifying the economy into various sectors allow us to understand the economy in depth. So we can divide the sectors of Indian economy into three basis or the criteria. First one, the basis of economic activity, basis of organization, basis of ownership. So first one, basis of economic activity, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Okay, so we can divide the basis of economic activity again, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. And the basis of organization again divided into two parts, organized sector and unorganized sector. And third criteria, basis of ownership, we can divide this criteria again into two parts, private sector and public sector. Today we will discuss the economic activity criteria. Okay, so the activity concerned with production of goods and services and earning of income is known as economic activity. Economy is classified into three sectors on the basis of economic activity: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Primary sector includes activities carried with the help of natural resources. Most of the natural products that we get are from agriculture. So that's why this sector is also known as agricultural and related sector. Importance क्या है? It provides raw materials to secondary sector in the absence of which production cannot take place. Examples: agriculture, fishing, mining and forestry, or we can say the dairy also. So people engaged in primary activities are called red collar workers due to the outdoor nature of their work. Secondary sector includes activities which involve transformation of raw materials into finished good or product. Generally, this transformation takes place in industries, so that's why this sector is also known as manufacturing sector. Importance क्या है? It converts raw material into finished goods or product. In its absence, the raw material will remain unutilized. Example क्या है? Manufacturing industries like car making, cloth making and sugar making. People engaged in the secondary activities are called blue collar workers. Tertiary sector includes activities which render services the other two sectors. These activities do not produce a good but are a support for the production process. This sector also called as service sector as it generates services. Okay, so the sector is an important link between other two sectors which would not develop in the absence of this sector. Example क्या है? Transportation, banking, communication, teaching. These activities generate services rather than goods. That's why the tertiary sector is also called the service sector. Also, it supports or the support provider to other two sectors like the primary and secondary. That's why this sector is called as the service sector. We can divide the tertiary sector again into two parts, quaternary and quinary activities. Quaternary activities also called as the knowledge sector. Example क्या है? Mutual fund manager to tax consultants, software developers, statisticians, personnel working in office buildings, elementary schools and university classrooms, hospitals and doctors' offices. Theaters, accounting and brokerage firm also belong to this category of services. Quinary sector also called as the coal collar professions. Example क्या है? Senior business executives, government officials, research scientists, financial and legal consultants. The three sectors are डिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर. तो इसके लिए हम लोग एक रेफरेंस ले रहे हैं, एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स का. सो आप सोच लो कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स के लिए क्या क्या ज़रूरत है. ऑब्वियसली वाटर, शुगर एंड आर्टिफिशियल फ्लेवर. तो अगर आपका शुगर केन प्रोडक्शन मैक्सिमम है लेकिन आपको शुगर बनाना नहीं आता है तो इसका कोई इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ही नहीं होगा. तो ऑब्वियसली शुगर बनाने के लिए वी नीड ए सेटअप, वी नीड ए plants or manufacturing industries. Okay, sugarcane manufacturing industries. Now to transport sugarcane to sugar mills and sugar to the cold drinks, plants or industry needs the services of a transporter. So a person or system of person is required in maintain and monitor all this movement of goods from farm to factory to shop in the different locations, and that is where role of administrative staffs comes. At every steps of these activities we require the proper monetary and banking system. So farmers also needs fertilizers and seeds which are processed in some factory. So all these sectors, just like from sugar cane to sugar cane again converted into sugar in a place, certified place, just like a manufacturing industry or plants. Okay, उसके बाद उसका एडवर्टाइजिंग होना चाहिए, इसके लिए प्रॉपर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्टाफ्स होना चाहिए, इसके लिए मुझे हम लोगों की ज़रूरत है टर्शियरी सेक्टर. सो ऑल these three sectors are dependent on each other. There is a need for comparing the three sectors. Each sector produces large number of goods and services. Comparison aims at finding the most important sector in terms of total production and employment. A very large number of goods and services are produced by various production activities in the primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. The sum of production in the three sectors give the gross domestic product of a country. So, in simple terms, the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the sector's total production for that particular year. Okay, so and the sum of production in three sectors give the gross domestic product, or we can say the GDP of the country. More the GDP, more bigger the economy of the country is. Then the question is, who controls this procedure? So in India, the central government has taken up the task of measuring GDP with all state and union governments' help. Then the question is, how do we measure the level of production in an economy, or we can say the how to find total production of GDP, because each sector produces large number of goods and services. So in an economy different types of goods and services are produced. One way to find total production is to count each product or service produced for a particular sector. So it will be a difficult task obviously. So we cannot count every single product or service which is produced because there are too many goods and services in each sector. We cannot add or count up two or more different things because it did not make sense. Just like example 3 apples plus 4 bananas, तो इसका क्या यूनिट हो रहा है? Obviously we do not know. Example like 5 computers plus 10 cars, so obviously we do not know the unit. So we can overcome the second problem by adding the values, that is the total amount, rather than adding total number of things. So each of these goods and services is measured in a different physical unit, like oil is measured in liters, clothes in meters, coal in tons, aircrafts in number. So when goods and services are measured in different physical unit, I am going to repeat, when goods and services are measured in different physical unit, they cannot be added up. So there is a need to measure this kind of goods and services in a common value. So we can overcome the second problem by adding the value. Okay, just like total amount rather than adding total number of things. Example 3 apples is equal to 50 rupees and 4 bananas is equal to 20 rupees. Then total value for 3 apples and 4 bananas will be 50 plus 20 is equal to 70 rupees. Once we know the money value of different goods and services, we can add them up and determine the level of production in the economy. Historical changes in sectors. So first, at the initial stages, primary sector was the most important sector of the economic activity. Primary sector main focus पे था economic activity के respect पे. But gradually new methods of manufacturing were introduced. Factories came up and started expanding. Slowly secondary sector became the most important in total production and employment. But today there's been a further shift from secondary to tertiary in the developed countries. So today the tertiary sector is widely recognized as the most important sector of all the three sectors. We can see in the period of 1973 to 74 the primary sector has contributed maximum to the GDP, but in 2013 to 14 tertiary sector has contributed maximum in GDP. Why? The development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of services such as transport, trade, storage and banking. The greater the development of primary and secondary sectors, more would be the demand of such services like the transport, trade, storage and banking. Development in information and communication services created the need in people's life. The skilled worker in tertiary sector earn a very high income. Dear students, these are some important questions regarding today's tutorial. Please try to find out the answers from tutorial and also from NCERT book. Okay. So dear children, that's the end of today's session. We will meet in our next class with new topic. Till then, bye. Take care, be safe and happy learning.